Hey guys, welcome to another video on OmniTech. Today, we're taking a look at this beautiful, older Dell monitor. What are we gonna do with it? Well, we'll take it apart and make a beautiful light out of it. First line of action, let me show you that this is indeed a working monitor. And don't worry about it, it will not be wasted. I promise you, it will not be wasted. Just to see that it's actually a working monitor. You saw the Dell logo, and yes, we don't have an input. We turn it off, flip it up again, take the cable out of it, and yes, the cable fell on the floor. Laugh if you like. Okay, next line of action on this one is to find a way to remove the cover from the body. Well, in most cases, you use either a flathead screwdriver, a plastic pry bar. In this case, I have a handy metal pry bar, which I do not suggest you do the same, and you use a flathead first. After you have taken apart the first, that's not a piece from it, the first clasp, go with a pry bar. And in other monitors, this procedure might be different, and in some of them you might have a hidden screw under this label. In this one, I know I don't have any hidden screws under the label, or in the corners, or in the back right here. Sometimes they have screws around corners. Just make sure you look at that part and you don't skip them. And we just go ahead and take apart the rest of the covers. And here you are. The lid is out. You saw the clasps here on the bottom. They're all gone. This we will need for later. The USB part here, I don't really need it for later and for what I'm doing. So I'll just quickly take it out of here with the right screwdriver, obviously, because sometimes, even though we're tech guys, we miss the screwdriver sizes. You can actually use it. It's the same connector that goes in motherboards. If you can probably see it right here on camera, it's the same exact connector that you use in motherboards. So if you want, you don't need to toss it. You can reuse it for other stuff. I'll put it in the side for now. I don't really need it. We take this piece of board out. Now, what is the next thing to do here with the board itself? Well, we need a handy Phillips screwdriver at the moment, and we check if there's any screws around this bezel. There's one screw here in this particular monitor, and there's one screw here. But first, if you see this happening, you have to remove these. Should be two pieces. It's one piece on the front and one piece on the back. And this one, you don't really need a pry bar or anything. I'm gonna flip it towards the camera. You kind of wedge your finger under this bezel here and you pull. You see that? Most of the older monitors have this style of removal, which the front face just comes out slowly, and it's done. Now, the other part that's covering our screws comes out by itself. And what do we do in this one here? Well, first of all, we need to make a few decisions here. In this one, I was lucky I didn't rip it off, but usually you can rip it off if you are not careful. You will need the button that connects to this part here. So just make sure this board here and this flat cable here are in good shape. You take it out and you save this. I'll let you know what are you gonna do with this later. For now, let's go on with the main part of the board. What do we do here? Well, take this part of the aluminum here out as much as you can. I'm just gonna not be very careful because we will remove all this stuff out of the monitor. And you take that part, rip it off, just like that. And here we uncovered the screws that I spoke about before, at least in this particular monitor. As I said, your monitor might be different. Mine is this one here. We take those, they're tiny screws. We take them out first, and undo the screws that are around here. There should not be many of them. Put them on the side for now. Take the other screw out. I'll speed up this part. By the way, this ribbon cable here will no longer be needed because this is to transfer the picture itself from the board to the main screen, which we will be removing the LED part of it, so it's no longer needed. And this little board here comes out now. It's not very hard. You just rip it apart because we are no longer going to use it. You'll see in the end it all will make sense, but for now I know you think that I'm just destroying a monitor, but I'm not. And look for screws on the sides always, just to make sure that they're all removed. We have them all removed in this one. So now, just so you see, I'm not sure if you can see on the top there, there's some kind of clasp right there. You see that? That has to be moved now. And you take a flathead screwdriver right here, and you remove them or undo them one by one. They're fairly easy to do. There's not much that's in them. You can hold the monitor from the lower part, and you see it comes out really easy. You take it out as such. And this bezel is out. Right here, you can see the light here. And this is no longer needed. That's the LED, the picture comes in here. I mean, you can use it for other projects if you wish so, but as for this project, this one has done its job. So now, what do we need right here? Well, as for now, we need to leave the power delivery cable intact where it's at. We put back the board how it was before. We don't need to take that out. We just took the big ribbon that I told you for the picture. We put now these adhesives that were here. Somehow Dell thought it was enough. No screws on the board holder at all, but it's okay. We don't really need it. So you put it back up, and before you do anything, you bring the big boy here that has the buttons, and now it's time to tell you how this part is done. You take a very small Phillips, if you can see it, that's a small Phillips, and you undo the three screws that are here on this tiny board. Usually if you want to make it easier for yourself, you just go ahead and take the ribbon from inside the board itself, but I did not do that, so that you might call it a mistake if you like too. And here's your board with the buttons that we will have to connect the ribbon cable right on this side here, and we'll do so right now. Well, let's flip it towards us because that's where the buttons are going to be. This is actually one of the more complicated monitors when it comes to the old used ones that I've made. I made a few more before that. I'll show you in a moment what I'm using one of them for, and you'll see that actually it's very practical. At this point, when all this part is done, after you put the ribbon back on its place, where's the control board with the buttons, what do we do right now? We take the other bezel that contains the button side right here, we put it under this screen, or what used to be a screen. And first of all, if you want to use the metallic bezel that wasn't here, you can just place it here for now. you can just place it here for now. You can put the screen back on where it's supposed to be. And sometimes you just have to wiggle it around so it goes back in position. Right here. And this screen is done and put in. Now it's time to install our beautiful control board. Since this is not bolted in, I can just easily move it around. So I will put it back in how it's supposed to be and where it's supposed to be. Now let me take, you can put it, I think, in both ways. This one, it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna decide to put, I'm gonna put it in this other way. It's a little bit flippity flip, but it's okay. And align it with the holes that's supposed to be on. Take the tiny screws that we took before and put them on one by one so it's right on its place. After you're done putting the screws, it's almost ready to go now. Let's place it back in this little bezel right here. So it goes and sits tight where it was before. And this board here, so you don't rip this ribbon right here, take some of these leftover sticky stuff that we have here and put it on the sides to hold it. Other bezel, that's up to you if you want to put it back on or not. I prefer to put it back how it was so it's easier to mount it for later if I need to put it on a vase mount or something. You just lower it. You just have to align this with the back cover before you do anything. Alignment, and by alignment I mean you see where the power input and all the ports are here on the back side of it, and you just lower it kind of the same way that we took it out, but in this case it's going to be a little bit harder to put it down. The clasps, some of them will not make it, so don't cry over it if they don't make it. Don't worry, it's not really a deal breaker. And after everything is done with closing it, now I will show you how it looks like. Let me grab one of the cables that fell on the floor previously. Here is the regular 3-prong female cable, and we plug it in where it's supposed to. As such, we click on and it turns on, and as you see, it's a really bright light. And look, it's a really bright light. Let me dim my overhead light so you can see the true brightness. Now, right now my light overhead is actually turned off. Let me turn this off. As you see that, the light overhead, see the difference right here? Light overhead is off. Light from the monitor is on. So, what can you use this for? You can use this for people that do a lot of drawing, for example, with you put a paper, you put another blank one on top of it, and you can draw over it. It's extremely easy. Or if you don't do that kind of stuff, you can use it as a floodlight or a light for filming with camera and such if you don't have a better light. Or you can just be creative, put some kind of frame around it, you know, from a picture or pieces of wood, and put it in the wall. It looks actually really beautiful, like a picture or like a window. Or you can put a picture on top of it, put the layout around, and put it in the wall, and looks beautiful. Or you can use it as I'm gonna show you right now in my tool corner. I'll show you how am I using another one just like this for my work table. Just give me one moment. And here's my kind of tool corner. This is just one of them, a small one. As you see, this is just a small shelf, one of them at least. Under the shelf, there is a strip monitor, just like the one we did on the video, right? Well, look at what happens when I flip the switch on this beautiful place. Here it goes, and it comes to life. As you see, it works really good. It's somehow interfering with the frame rates of my phone, but that's fine. We are not here to look at the phone part. And as you see, you can use it to repair anything you want on it. Beautiful, bright light. You can either turn it off from the switch like I did, or you can turn it off with its own button that has here on the side. As you saw, it's really easy and simple. And look how useful that light is, especially when you're soldering. Let's say you want to go in some detail. I don't have the pad here, the floor pad, the mat to solder on, but I'm just gonna see it. You see how close you can go in details. It's actually very beautiful. And somehow this light interferes with my phone, so don't look that, and don't look at the mess. It's a lot messy. So, but yeah, that is the light that I just made there. Not the same one, but another one like it. And it makes the shed look really beautiful. Not the shed, but the tool corner, whatever you want to call it. It makes it look really beautiful. I hope you learned something, and we'll see you next time. Bye!